Today we are going to hello everyone, I hope you are all doing well. Today we are going to talk about a plane without roof, how it is possible to flying without roof. But it happens. 28 April 1988, 1 p.m. Awahi Aloha Airline flight 243, they want to fly. They are getting start to fly. It was a good day, sunny day, or a lot of people are here to enjoy. If you don't know, Hawaii, it's a group of islands in the Pacific Ocean. It is part of America. The flight takeoff, there was only one unusual thing. One passenger boarding in the plane. Before he go in, he see there is a crack in the aeroplane. But the plane body have a different shapes. They are attached between each other. There was one sheet cracked. He see, but he didn't respond. He thinks that it doesn't matter. It's the big airline. Literally, they are repairing everything. They are inspection every day, like every time. This is a small mistake. It didn't take serious. But how big this mistake is, nobody expect. After 10 or 15 minutes flying, the air hostess served the drinks and seatbelt sign wasn't turned off yet because it usually turns off when the flight is 2,400 height. There was a 3-hour air hostess in the flight. They served the drinks. Exit in the 2,400 altitude. When they reached height, there was a big blast. Every passenger heard the blast sound. It was very badly. It was very hard to breathing in the plane. Everywhere the things are flying over there, like there was a terrible confusion. What was happening there? Some passengers see there is not a roof. Some people see their surrounding wall is missing. There is no surrounding wall. They can see only the sky. What was happened about 35 meters front of the aeroplane disintegrated below away. Usually what happened in aeroplane in the cabin, they pressurize the air. Because of that we normally breathe. Otherwise at the height of 24,000 feet, the atmosphere pressure is very low. The air is so thin that we cannot breathe normally at those heights. That's why airplanes have their own pressurized system. If for some reason this system breaks down and aeroplane keep flying at the same altitude, an emergency case, those oxygen masks will drop down. You must heard this about in the event of loss of cabin pressure, oxygen mask will drop down. Oxygen supplied about 50 to 20 minutes. At those time, pilot had to descend the plane at the height of 10,000 feet. Now in our this story, what happened in the flight 243? Oxygen mask did drop, but the oxygen mask is not working. Because of the blast, 10 mask system are completely destroyed. People were concerned about hypoxia, which your body does not get sufficient oxygen. You can get unconscious and eventually lose your life. It takes 1 or 2 minutes to lose consciousness. Michelle Onda, an air hostess, was near the cabin A. Was near row 15 during this explosion. She tried to contact with pilot, but there was no response other side. Air hostess Sibyl Lansing was serving a drink. When roof of the part exploded, she went out in the sky. The third colleague, Jensatu, was fall in the ground. There was commotion all around. When Michelle didn't get any answer from pilot, she went to every passenger to ask if they know how to fly the plane. It scared the passenger. You are asking fly the plane of us? It scared the passenger more. Without pilot, they will be crushed. They think of that. There was a few minutes remain after that they will all lose consciousness. Some passenger cannot face this strong air. Aeroplane is as fast as 500 km per hour. Air blowing at them. It was difficult to keep their eye open, and the temperature was minus 45 degrees at the high. If somehow oxygen supply will work, it is hard to survive at those high distance. Because most of the passengers wearing short or t-shirts. There people go to see beach and jungles. There was no snow and people was not prepared for that temperature.
Michelle was the only air hostess she was leaving.
She several times tried to contact with pilot, but there was no answer. Among those all dangers, the good news was that the pilot were actually alive. Not only alive, the pilot is in a good condition. Their oxygen mask thankfully works. 44 here, Captain Robert Simmons, a high experienced pilot working for Aloha Airline. First of all, they wear their oxygen mask and they decide to go for an emergency descent at the speed of 400 km per hour. They descend 4,100 per minute. But the time constraint wasn't only the descent of the plane. They had to face another problem bigger than this. The front part of the plane, it was dropping down around 1 meter. The floor of the plane was the only thing to connect the cockpit to the front of the plane. Keep flying for a long time. It might break apart. Mimi Tompkins contacted the Honolulu to inform them about their situation. They were told to land the plane Maui instead of Honolulu, since it was closer. At the 1:48 p.m. she contacted the Maui Tower to inform them about their situation. It was about 3 minutes the plane roof was fallen away. But thankfully the plane was at the 40,000 feet. This height, it wasn't difficult to most passengers to breathe. Most people didn't lose their consciousness. Mimi Tompkins contacted Maui Airport and told them, all emergency service ready. Firefighter rescue vehicles were at standby on the runway. Everyone was waiting for this plane to land. A minute later, the plane had reached the height of 10,000 feet. When other problem comes, there was a 10,000 feet mountain in front of them, the Haleakala Summit. There was a mountain between plane and Maui Airport. Captain Robin slowed down the plane 210, 200 knots, 170 knots. They kept slowing down. They flight as slow as possible. And this speed of 170 knots. They navigating the plane between two islands. The plane avoided the mountain toward the airport. At this point, passenger could understand the situation is much better. They finally realized that the plane was flown by a pilot. Not only was the pilot alive, but he was flying the plane expertly. As plane went toward the runway, she released the landing gear. There should be 3 sets of wheels, 2 on the back, 1 on the front. The ones on the back are called main gear. The indicator shows the main gear was released, but the front wasn't released. Technically, it is possible to land without the nose gear. This is known as belly landing during emergency case. In such a place, the middle part of the plane is so weak, the pilot was afraid to attempt a belly landing because the plane would crash easily. Of course, the plane will crash definitely. If something happened to the fuel tank, it could have a blast. There was no other option. There was nothing else they could do. The pilot attempted landing like that. As soon as the runway visible, the passenger holding for landing. Some started praying, some hugging each other. This will be the last time we see each other. Most passengers were still terribly scared. It has started moving side to side. The pilot realized that the left engine is failed, trying to minimize the damage. At the 1:56 p.m., the pilot informed the Maui Tower they will need all the equipment the airport have. There was a person trekking on the runway. Meanwhile, a person on the runway tracking the plane with binocular. He spotted that the nose gear was successfully released. The plane didn't need belly landing. They informed the pilot one last thing for the pilot to worry about. Then at 1:58 p.m. the exact 13 minutes 46 seconds after the explosion, Aloha Airline Flight 243 touched down the ground. Apart from using the brakes, the captain used the third reversing of the remaining engine. Gradually, the plane hit safely. The emergency team present on the runway breathed a sign of relief. The passengers were debarred from the plane through the emergency landing. There is a real video of this, which you can see. You can see the passengers safely landing down. All the passengers applaud the captain and thank him to saving their life. Although most of them were safe, many of them were seriously injured. Okay everyone, this was our story today. I hope you all enjoyed this. If you had any question, you can ask down below. Thank you. See you next time.